Hey there, Dan Edwards here, your team leader with KW Bothell. I'm here with our ALC member, Rick Vannoy. He is the featured agent for KW Bothell in January. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you and I have known each other for at least 3, maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
And you were at the Everett office before you moved down here, but you've been with Keller Williams for how long?
This is my 11th year with KW.
11th year. Wow,
Yep.
That's crazy. So you started in the Everett office.
I did. Yep.
And decided to move down to the Bothell office because it was a better fit for you.
It was, yeah.
Awesome. I love that. What do you love about Keller Williams? What keeps you here?
I'd say one of the biggest pieces that I like about Keller Williams and sticking around here is obviously the culture, the education, the tech, honestly, the tribe, the people. When you jump into this business, there's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot of textbook stuff we learn when we get licensed, but there's a lot that we don't know. And everybody at KW is an open book. They're super happy to share with what's worked for them.
Yeah, that's great. And I love the collaboration. That's one of the big reasons for myself being a part of this organization. I'm only 10 years, so you got me beat. You got me beat. What got you started in real estate?
My mom is a licensed agent, and I kind of seen, how it was working for her, a little bit of flexibility. She was always having fun, and I thought, how cool is that to work with people one-on-one, dress nice, go out and see beautiful houses and have fun, for a job. And I was like, that's a lot better than digging ditches.
Is that what you were doing?
It is, yeah. I was a dirt worker, so underground utilities, I did that for 15 years, and Washington State's pretty tough, around the winter, rainy, muddy. And,
right.
And I was like, there's got to be a softer, better way to go, so.
Yeah. So when you got into real estate 11 years ago, right? What was, instant success? No problems?
No. When I first jumped in, I am a father too, so I have 2 kids and a wife, and I couldn't just jump from one business to the other. I probably could have, but I was too nervous to because I needed the income to stay in. So I actually worked both jobs for a year before I could make the jump.
What did it look like for that first year for you?
The first year was really buckling down, right? So I had my 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday, and I would do open houses on the weekend. I would meet with clients after work throughout the week, and then open houses all weekend. So for me, it was a 7-day work period because I knew the plan was to move over whenever the time was ready. But I had to make sure I had 3 months of reserves put away. Because it does
Before
take,
you made that
because it takes us a month to get our first paycheck, regardless of how you look at it. So I wanted to make sure all the paychecks or the commission checks that I was getting, I was stacking away until I had 3 months of reserve. So once I had that, I felt confident in stepping away from my 9-to-5 job, and then never looked back.
So tell me about the story, because like you said, you were working 2 jobs for that first year. So how did you make that work?
A lot of grit. Right. So I was prepared, and I told my wife one day what I wanted my dream to be, right? Hey, I want to move from this position doing construction to this position in real estate, make sure it works with the wife. Hey, it's going to be a lot on you, but I promise you I'm going to give it my all, and we're going to win, right? We're going to do good. So she backed me on that. So, shout out to a great wife to help with that. How it looked for me was making calls on the weekend because I had weekends off. So 8 a.m. I'd start making calls Saturday, Sunday, doing open houses. I would actually pack a backpack with, some slacks, a button-up shirt, deodorant, hair gel, cologne, and I would stuff it all in my backpack, and I'd go to work. And luckily I was the foreman for the site, so I could kind of have a good idea when the job was shutting down. But any of the calls that I got, I was running heavy equipment too. So tracos, backhoes, dozers, right? So I'd be getting calls, and I'd shut the window and I'd take the call. Hey, this is Rick with Keller Williams. How can I help? Right? And they would set up a showing. Hey, can we see something at 3 o'clock? I'm like, well, I'm booked until 5:30. Had to set it up after, right? So when the job was shut down, I'd scoot over to Starbucks or 7-Eleven, go into their bathroom, take off my Carhartts, my dirt, wash everything off, and put on this change of clothes, fix my hair. And I was driving a 1-ton work truck too, pipe on it. I didn't want people to think I was a part-time agent. So I would park like 2 blocks away from the showing, and I'd get there early, meet them, show them the house. And if we had 2 houses, I'd say, hey, I got to lock up the house and call the owner. Why don't you head to the next showing and I'll meet you there? So they didn't see me driving the work truck, right? So I did that for a year, right? A year until, I got that first paycheck that came in. And I remember how grateful I was when I seen my first paycheck was $130,000 condo off of Casino Road in Everett, right? It was, it was, I think $3,200 I got, but keep in mind, I was making $4,500 a month doing construction, and this is 60, 70 hours a week, drive time, everything else. So I got really grateful to look at that and then look at how hard I was working for $1,500 more. And I'm like, if I could do one of these a month or two of these a month, I can make the transition. This is a game changer. Yeah. And I took that first check and just put it away, kept living off my 9-to-5 money until I had that 3 months of reserves. And once it was ready to go, I was prepared. It was up to me. So it gave myself basically 60 days to find my next deal and 30 days to close, because that's how much money I had saved.
I love that. And I love pointing out that you had your spouse's buy-in. Like, it can be really tough in this business if you're trying to work two jobs, which is going to be a sacrifice for you and your family.
Sure.
And you're not in agreement or alignment. So I think that's really cool that obviously great wife, right?
Yep.
That's willing to kind of back you up on that. So that's really good. Props to her.
Yeah.
Okay. So you find yourself now full-time in the business. Smooth sailing from then on?
No, not smooth sailing. There was a lot of pieces that I wasn't prepared for. Like, I'd say one of the big things when you get licensed, they teach you a lot of the textbook stuff, but what they don't teach you, which again, plug to KW, is how do you talk to people? Like, how do you write a contract? What forms go into the contract? There's more than 5 or 6 forms. I mean, there's 100 plus? I'm not even sure how many, but learning what forms to put into the offer, how to talk to people, how to pick up on readings of people. There's so many things that go into it. And lead gen. Like, lead gen is such a blanket statement.
Right.
What are you going to do to get business today? Door knock, open house, cold calls, sphere, networking, writing letters. I mean, like, which direction are you going to go? So I picked 2 things and got great at them. And for me, it was cold calls and open houses. Those to me were the most affordable. Right? Because when I got into this, I only had enough money for my bills, right? Not marketing.
Right.
I didn't save money for that. I didn't even know that I needed money for that.
Right.
So, I had my cell phone and I had the MLS. So therefore I had access to canceled and expired listings, and I taught myself off of YouTube on how to do canceled and expired calls, right?
Sure.
Objection handling.
Yeah. And now you do a fair amount of that?
I did about 6 years of that, 3 hours a day, every single day that I came in, built a great business off it. I've kind of morphed a little bit over now that I've been in long enough. My phone actually rings.
So your sphere now is starting to come
back.
back.
Yeah, correct. And that was my big goal. Is I remember sitting in the office and people would answer their phone. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is Bob. Yeah, I can meet you today. We'll get your home on the market tomorrow. No problem." And I'm like, looking at my cell phone, I was like, God, ring, right? Ring. I wish you would ring. It took a minute to get to that point.
But you have to build that up. That's not
that's
something
right.
That's reputational. It's conversational. It's relationships, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, from a more experienced agent standpoint, if you're considering a company like Keller Williams here, why KW Bothell?
I like KW Bothell for a lot of different reasons. One of the big reasons is its location. I personally like to work north and south. So I work from Skagit County to North King County, more or less. That's my preferred area. So Bothell is right in the middle. That's number one. Number two is I really like the people. I've been, like I said, at a couple different offices, and everybody is really open. But here it seems really tight knit. Like, I know everybody down the hallway. I know who's showing up to the team meetings. People, our group, our Facebook groups, everything that goes into it. Someone throws out a question and you get 10 responses. You know, it says a lot about the culture here.
Yeah, so. I think culture is probably the number one reason. And a lot of times I get, well, Keller Williams is a great place to start, but it's not, once you know what you're doing, you don't really need the rest of the education. Do you find that to be true?
Who gets educated and is done?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that before, but I mean, it's my 11th year and I still attend our forums meetings. I still show up to, our bold classes, the family reunions, all the other stuff that people say is good for in the beginning. But how many times have we had changes in our forms and the buyer's agency agreement, the NAR thing. I mean, there's always something new and something changing every year. And for me to be comfortable in my position, the two things that were most important to me when I got into real estate, one was the contracts. My biggest fear was I was going to be nervous because we're supposed to know everything, right? My biggest fear was I was going to get asked a question from a client or the general public that I didn't know the answer to, and they did. I know it sounds simple, but I came from a job where I knew everything. I was the foreman.
You were the expert.
I was the expert to jump into something that I knew nothing about. So jumping into the forms gave me confidence in at least answering questions. And then the cold calls or understanding the language of real estate, right, and sales conversations and how to do objection handling, those two things together empowered me to do great. And those two things never stop, because I always hear a conversation from somebody and I'm like, that's a great way to talk about that. That's a great way to answer that. So.
And I was going to say, along those lines, because we have so many people that are doing real estate, not just at the beginning, intermediate level, but high level, that you get higher level conversations.
Yeah.
And I've always valued having a peer group of people that are doing this at a high level, because the conversations are different. The objections are different. If you're dealing with new construction or trying to identify land, or if you're looking at a very complex, complicated broker question, our designated broker, Brian, amazing, knowledge, depth, but also there's a lot of peers that are doing this at a high level.
Yeah.
So what's your superpower?
My superpower is I'm really, really good face-to-face. Like what we're doing right now, this is my superpower. That's why I love open houses. That's why anybody that I work with, regardless of where they're at in the process, they get this, a consult, buyer or seller. So my superpower is, like I said, being able to sit down, just enjoy what I'm doing and hear what's coming from the other side, because it's not always about numbers like purchase price or payments and things like that. There's a deeper reason why someone's doing it. They want to get closer to grandma. They want the kids in a new school district. And I'm able to have a good conversation and really filter out how to make this work best for them, not just with the numbers, but for them in general. So.
Finally, what do you love about real estate?
There's a lot of things that I love about real estate, but what I really love is this is a job that it could be kind of a double-edged sword in a sense. But before, when I was doing construction, I could work my tail off and work really, really hard all day. Doesn't mean at the end of the day I get paid more, right? Or at the end of the week I get paid more. I get overtime, right, which gets taxed, and that's a whole other thing. But in real estate, the harder I work and the more energy and effort I put in, the more benefits I reap at the end, right? Because I'm my own boss. The more people I talk to, the harder I work, the better I do by people, build a great name, all that stuff pays out dividends because I worked harder, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is a place you can come and you get out of it what you put into it. And that's the basis of it all.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Any advice you have for a brand new agent getting started?
Yeah. A few things that I would start with. One, like I said, is understanding the contracts. Knowledge is power. I mean, even if you're new, and I mean, I wasn't super young. I was 30 years old when I came in, but I know sometimes there's younger agents that come in and their fears, maybe their age and things like that. And here's what I would share is, if you walk the walk, nobody's going to question you. If you can talk the talk, nobody's going to question you. So any of your myth understandings about age and what can and can't be done because of your age or the areas you work, that all gets brushed aside if you're super knowledgeable. So for me, I would jump into contracts. I would jump into some of the morning real estate conversations that Mitch does and a few other people, and listen to how real conversations go, right? At open houses, things like that. So learning how to speak the language, understanding the contracts, and then finding what you want to do for lead gen, and just pick two. I know there's a whole, plethora of different things. Just pick two and go hard at it, right? Don't do a little bit of each. Just find two things that you can do it really, really well, and don't give up. Also, get a database. I know it's one of those small things, but if I had started as good on day one as I'm doing now with my database, it would carry me so far, right? Like anybody that I meet, putting notes in there, how conversations went, and start building this database, because you'll learn that's your piggy bank, right? That's where everything comes in and out of. So.
Yeah, and it takes time for it to grow. Like you said, you started to find out later, your phone
Yeah.
started ringing.
Yeah.
And so, and I see so many agents in this business, from top agents to bottom, beginning agents. And the ones that don't build a database have to constantly be chasing new business.
Yeah.
So the sooner you can do it and have it a part of your life,
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of technology. I was the guy that came in and I knew basic technology, but I still
You
had.
could work a backhoe.
I could work a backhoe, right? Right. I could read blueprints, but I thought everybody had to have that book, the yearly planner, which it works for some. But what I found out is there's only a square that big, right? If you have 5 or 6 appointments that day,
Yeah.
plus other follow-ups, they're not all fitting in that square. So don't be scared of technology. Having a database set up, there's no way I could do today the business that I do if I didn't have something saying, hey, call Dan today. Hey, call Jim today. Hey, call Brittany today, right? Actually telling me to do these things and automate my touches and things like that. Because once you get up to 4, 5, 6, 700 people in your database, there's no way that you're going to be able to give them the attention and the personal touch just by opening up a 3-ring folder and trying to make sure
Excel
you didn't miss.
spreadsheet or whatever.
Impossible. That's okay for maybe the first 6 months, but after that, put it all in a database. It will make your life and your world so easy and really give you that extra touch to the clients.
How do you give special time to your family or separate family from work, or can you?
The balance, more or less, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say, just like anything else, if I have an appointment with Dan on Friday from 5 to 6, I'm not going to miss it. Same thing with my family. Go through my week, and I make sure that, Thursday nights for us is date night for me and my wife. We do that twice a month at least. I also set date nights for the kids, right? One-on-one time with the kids. So it's not just a family get-together time. I give them each their own date night and something fun too. But just like anything else that you don't want to miss, you put it on the calendar and plan around it, just like your big vacations and holidays throughout the year, right? Go through and set that up. If I have an appointment set, I'm like, hey, I'm already booked Thursday from 5 to 7. Could we do Friday at 4? They usually say, yeah, right?
And it's important too to maintain presence.
Yeah.
So if you have a listing appointment at Thursday 5 to 7, your phone is going to be down there off in your laptop or whatever bag, and you're going to be present because you want to earn that business. Same thing goes with your family. If you're having dinner, the phone should be somewhere else, and you're present.
Exactly.
And I think it's not necessarily the quantity of time; it's the quality.
Yeah.
You can control that.
Agreed. Yep.